What's up? Welcome to today's live stream. It's been a few days, been busy with other things, but I'm back. And yeah, no real agenda today. I've already hit my stream goal for this week, so I'm mostly just hanging out. So if you're here and you're wondering, what I'm up to, I don't know yet. I'm going to have this be influenced by whoever shows up. So if you have questions, if you want to just chat, just say some words. In the meantime, I will likely just be browsing the internet, as well as doing some other things that I was meant to do that I haven't done yet, like cross-promoting some content that a buddy of mine has been working on that I told him I would do. So I'll do that probably first. And I have some other meta work that I need to do, specifically around getting Obsidian, integrated into my workflow, which requires me to go and either back up with GitHub or figure out a way to do this backup with GitHub and get it onto my phone. That's really important to me. But yeah, let me just go ahead and change over. Oh, actually, wait. I got to make sure my stream is running. I should probably gotta adjust the exposure on my camera right quick. Alright, cool. Just had to adjust the exposure a little bit. Realized that it was a little bit too dark. I finally decided to, after years, actually adjust my white balance to correct for the color shift that's on my filter, as well as to make sure that the lights that I have are actually balanced correctly. I did this because I pulled out my monitor. I have an Atomos Ninja that I'm gonna start recording on soon because I'm gonna start doing videos. And yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh, my colors are all over the place, because I actually don't see what my colors look like until after the fact. And since this is live streaming, I generally don't care that much. But I'm trying to get a little bit more serious, especially because I'm gonna start recording videos. It's important to make sure that my exposure is right. That my color is okay, so the editor doesn't have to do anything. no real effort. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen real quick. And I was just on Twitter just looking at some ChatGPT stuff. Wait, am I muted? No, I'm not. All right, cool. Yeah, so I'm just looking at some ChatGPT stuff. I've noticed that there's been a very substantial dip in quality of the responses that I've been getting. So much so that I have decided to no longer purchase or pay for ChatGPT every month. As soon as they announced ChatGPT 4 and said that it would be $20 a month, I decided that I would pay for it because at that point in time, ChatGPT 3 was giving me a decent amount of value. The responses were much better than they are today, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I think it's dipped in the name of safety, and it's just, I've never asked for safety. Safety means something very specific to me. Means that I am not in danger of having violence happen to me, which is that's physical in nature. And I've never understood how something that can't actually do anything to me can be perceived as not safe. But hold on, you know what? I don't really have an agenda, remember? So let's go and do some understanding of the word safety, because maybe I have just misunderstood what that word meant. So let's look for safety. And we'll also look here in, wait, why am I in the Chinese dictionary? Oh, okay, no, safety. Okay, so we have a few oh wait, why am I in the Chinese dictionary? Let's go to English for now. Yes. Okay, so I want to say that these two dictionaries use different sources for their dictionaries. If you're on a Mac, maybe this is useful for understanding how you can get more value out of the dictionary app. Before I get into that, let's close out some things. I'm gonna try to get this edited, so I want to make sure that I remove all distractions. So first, let's move this dictionary out of the way, and let's talk about the dictionary app. Before I even do that, let me open up my my little note thing, so I can make sure I give notes. I was told that to make life easier, that I should give notes for what I want the video to be. So we're gonna do that. So we're gonna do a new note. Do 2023-09. What day is this? The 23rd. Oh, it's almost my brother's birthday. In 2 days, on Monday. All right, so we're going to do I don't know, no agenda. But the first thing we're talking about is using using the dictionary and Mac OS. And then I'm going to figure out, let's arrive to what is safety. I think I'll put this definition in here. I think this should be task, and these should be formatted as such. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and also add in my notes. Perfect. I'm going to move this to my side screen over here. I'll move it back when necessary. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about macOS and the dictionary app. For those of you who are just now joining, I was going on a mini rant about how trash ChatGPT is becoming, and my hypothesis is that it's gotten worse because of safety. And I want to understand what safety is, because it seems like there's been a redefinition of what that word means. I've always took that word to mean making sure that I am not in danger of violence, like removing that danger of violence. And I've always interpreted violence as being something that's purely physical in nature. However, in today's world where everybody is pretty soft and gets offended by any and everything, now somehow violence is taking on a new meaning, and safety is also taking on a new meaning. And I've noticed that there's been a lot of policies and laws that have been enacted in the name of safety to keep us safe. And I want to know, what does that mean? What do you mean by keep me safe? First of all, I think that's disrespectful. It removes some level of responsibility over my life that someone else thinks that they knows what's best for me, and I don't like that. But anyway, let's first jump into how to use the dictionary app in macOS. So I use something called Spotlight, and the way I access Spotlight is to use the command space. Right, that's the Mac key. If you're on a regular keyboard for Mac, press the Mac key and you press spacebar. That'll open up Spotlight search, and within Spotlight search, you can type in things and it can find all types of information, and it's dependent on your settings. So at the moment, I have Spotlight search open, and let's go to my preferences so that I can see how my settings are set up. So to get into preferences, I pressed Command, while Spotlight was open, and that takes me to here, Siri and Spotlight. And you'll see here that I have some things selected and unselected. I think by default, all of these things are going to be selected. And for me, there's certain information that I don't need, or it makes finding the actual data that I want to see harder because it's a lot more noise. So I've turned off bookmarks and history. First of all, Bookmarks and history is only going to be for Safari. I don't use Safari, so this is useless to me. Turn it off. Then there's the calculator. This allows you to perform calculations using Spotlight. I do that kind of often, so I keep that on. Contacts, I turn that off mainly because for one, I'm streaming. I don't want to like type in something and then like someone in my contact list shows up and you see the phone number. So I turn that off. You know, maybe it's useful to you, especially if you use an iPhone. There's conversion, which I also use. This not only does units, but it also does currencies. I'll show that off in a minute. And then definition, this is the key. This is how you get definitions, the dictionary. macOS has always shipped with a dictionary built in, and Spotlight allows you to access that dictionary quite easily. Of course, you can open up the dictionary directly, but I'm going to show you how to, let me back up. I'm going to show you how to get the definition of a word directly from Spotlight. Then there's developer. I turn this off because it makes it quite noisy. It's showing me like all these APIs and all these header files and implementation files and C and Objective-C. It's a little bit too much for me. Same for documents. Most things on a computer is a document. I prefer to organize my documents into folders and directories. So I have turned off documents in favor of folders. So now I can just type in a folder name and then I can get to my documents that I care about. Events and reminders, I turn it off. It's only useful if you use not Google Calendar, I'm sorry. It's only useful if you use Apple's calendar app. I don't use that. I use Google Calendar. So I turn it off. Fonts, turn it off mainly because if I want to find the font, I'll go and use the application directly. Images, I turn that off because half the time I don't even name my images, so it'll just be a lot of uselessness for me. Mail and messages, I don't use Apple Mail, and even if I did, I will just go and search it in the app. I use Gmail as well as Superhuman, so if I wanted to find messages, I would go there. Movies, music, and other. Movies, I don't really have movies. Well, I do have movies, but like if I wanted to find it, they're located in a very specific place. I would just go and find it there. Music, does anyone even own music anymore? Like, is that even a thing? I don't think it searches Spotify or Tidal or any music app that I would actually use. While I do have Apple Music, I hate it, so it's not useful for me. Other is it's just noise to me. PDF documents I turned on mainly because I sometimes search for papers. I'll show what I mean there. Presentations, I don't have many presentations, but when I do have them, they're named and it's easier for me to find because I don't know where they are, because they're stored in iCloud and Dropbox and in other locations. So because they're all over the place, I turn it on here. Spreadsheets, great. System settings, this is how I find most system settings now, that Apple has changed macOS to this, basically iOS plus. I hate iOS, even though I have it, but they've decided to make my Mac preferences iOS, which is great. Next, we have the Spotlight privacy. This is how you can tell macOS, hey, don't index specific locations on my machine. Generally, I used to have a hard drive plugged into here that I would always say don't search, because first of all, it's not really, there's no information that I want to find there, but also it's just like I'm always moving it on and off, and I don't want that index to just be there. So let's go on and let's go to what we were originally going to try to do. Figure out what is safety using the macOS dictionary. So I'll do Command Space and I'll type in safety. Notice here that I get back all these things. This is what I mean by noise, right? So what this is doing, and you may be wondering, why am I seeing UAD system manual? Spotlight search is actually much better than just basic search where it's just looking at a file name. What it's doing is it's actually looking through the content of your files for that word. In this case, it's found safety inside of the UAD system manual. And there's some actual things about safety, but it's not the kind of safety we're worried about. So let's just keep going down, and you'll see that these are separated into categories, and the category that I care about is the definition. And within here, you actually see kind of like I don't know if it's a phonetic spelling of safety, but it kind of like breaks it down into the two parts of the word, the root and the stem. Press enter. We get the dictionary definition in line. So according to macOS dictionary, which I forget what it's based off of, I'll go into that later. It says that it is the condition of being protected from or unlikely to cause danger. Okay, so being protected from something, we'll figure out what that something is, or unlikely to cause danger. Okay, well, danger is also a bit ambiguous, but I guess I'll have to figure out what that is as well. Risk or injury. Okay, so protected from or unlikely to cause danger, risk, or injury. They should leave for their own safety. The survivors were airlifted to safety, okay? Denoting something designed to prevent injury or damage, okay? Like a helmet, got it. Short for safety log, I don't think that matters. American football obviously doesn't matter here. Oh, and I just learned something. There's a third informal definition of safety, a condom. Okay, I just learned that safety is a condom. All right, so this is safety as Spotlight, or in macOS's dictionary. Now let's go to the actual dictionary app. So I'll just type in dictionary here, and we'll open up dictionary. And you may be wondering, what dictionary does macOS use? It says it here. It uses the New Oxford American Dictionary. We can use command comma to open up the settings or the preferences for the dictionary app to determine which dictionaries we want to have enabled. I think that all of these come installed by default, and it's up to you to go in and enable or disable them based on how you see fit. And here we are. We see the pronunciations. There's the diacritical as well as IPA. What you were seeing, the safe-ty, that's diacritical. You can also move these around. So you see here that I have the New American or the New Oxford American Dictionary first, followed by the Oxford American Writer's Thesaurus. I write a lot, I also read a lot, and words matter to me, so I have a thesaurus. Then there's the Apple Dictionary, which I don't really know what that's based on, but I have it. And then there's Wikipedia. You can actually have Wikipedia results show up in your dictionary, which is kind of cool, I think. So you don't have to go to Wikipedia if you don't want to. Additionally, you'll see that I have these other dictionaries. I think they are, So I have the Chinese language dictionaries, simplified. I do have traditional, and that's only when I can't figure out what simplified version it is, but I have a real dictionary for Chinese, or another alternative dictionary for Chinese that I find much better. In any case, let's go ahead and close these settings, and I'll show here how this is organized. So in this top little bar here, we have these tabs. We can go to all, and this will pull up every word that it thinks matters for the word that I'm searching. So we're going to type in safety or safe T. What's up, Cloudbuster? We have a question. I'm gonna post it up. Should I work on starting a master's degree in computer science? As someone with no computer programming background who is over 40, I'm interested, but I'm not sure if there are better options. Okay, so the answer to that is going to depend. Is your background in something like math or electrical engineering, or just in engineering in general, or physics, or something technical like I'm gonna just say technology, all encompassing? When I say background, I'm not just saying like your undergraduate degree, but I'm also talking about your work experience, because I'm of the opinion that you don't need to have a bachelor's in computer science to go in and do a master's of computer science. It will be much more difficult for you. So I would actually push folks to, instead of going the computer science route, go into the software engineering route, which is, I think, a much better approach, because it's unlikely that you want to do actual computer science. Computer science is research. A lot of people think computer science is programming. That's actually not the case. It's likely that you want to build and like produce software. Software engineering is a much better fit for that. You will learn how to program. You will learn some computer science concepts, but you won't be purely in that theoretical mathematics type of lane. So even if your background is accounting, sure, you can do computer science, but I would push you more towards software engineering. Hopefully that helps. If you have follow-up questions, feel free to drop them in. I don't know how long you've been here, but I don't really have an agenda today. I'm talking about the fact that I'll be talking about certain things, but you know, if you have other questions, I'll quickly switch to that and then jump right back into this stuff that I'm talking about. Yeah, no problem, man. All right, so back to the safety thing, or back to this dictionary. We're figuring out what safety means, but I'm also showing how to use the macOS dictionary. It turns out a lot of folks who have macOS, they don't really know how to use macOS. They don't know all of the things that macOS has to offer. They tend to use Chrome, which is, you know, it almost defeats the purpose of paying a crap ton of money for a computer that runs a specific operating system. Ah, you're from TLA channel. Oh, well, that's cool. Thank you for coming by. I know TLA. I like him. He's really entertaining. And I remember asking him, how do I make what I'm doing approachable or entertaining? And it basically seems like I can't make it entertaining, because what I'm learning, and I mean, I've learned, but I'm starting to accept that, you know, a lot of folks say that they want certain things in life, and you can tell them exactly what it is that they need to do. You can walk them down that path and say, all right, this is what you do. I can help you do it. But what I'm starting to really just accept is that people say they want something, but they don't want to put in the work to get to that something. So when I was, when I was on my travels and actually out, like these days, I'd stick to myself a lot more than I used to. But when I was out and about, you know, people would come up to me and they'll be like, oh, yeah, what do you do? How do I get to your level, BS, all that kind of stuff. And oftentimes my response would be, well, just work. Really, like, you know, all the things that I was doing in my early 20s when all my friends were out doing partying and whatever, just having fun. I'm studying and doing all these things. And, you know, when you get into your late 20s and 30s and you're, you know, 7 figures, and people are just like, wait, like, what do you do? How can I do that? It's like, well, I could tell you it's going to take you 5, maybe 7, maybe 10 years, but it's going to be hard. And, you know, some people have told me that they're willing to do it, and then they peter out after a few months when they realize that hard means actually hard and not, you know, just like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm a switch back to the safety. Like figuring out how to use dictionary while also talking about why ChatGPT has gotten so much worse than it used to be. And there's some pretext to this, actually. Let me pull up this. So this is a post that one of my buddies shared with me the other day while I was ranting about how bad ChatGPT is and how I'm no longer willing to pay $20 a month for what is perceivably worse. So this person has came up with the custom instructions. This is a feature of ChatGPT Plus, if you pay for it, where you get to give it some information about who you are, and you get to kind of tailor how ChatGPT will give you responses. I've done something similar myself, but like, look at the level of just the level of detail that he had to do just to be able to get decent responses, right? And when I say decent responses, I'm not necessarily saying that they're 100% correct or that they're unflawed, but just like a decent response that's approaching what we were getting last year, I think. When did I start using Chat? Well, I started using OpenAI a while ago, but I think ChatGPT may have came out this year. Maybe. I don't remember. In any case, I've noticed that ChatGPT 4 is much worse than ChatGPT 3. And the level of just like prompting that you have to do to arrive to anything approaching what you could do 6 months ago is infuriating, especially when you start to think about it was free. Like ChatGPT 3 was free. I think it was free for most people. Yeah, I'm going to assume it was free for most people. I don't know when people started using it, to be honest. I've been using it, like that kind of stuff for a while, so like forgive me if I don't get my dates correct. So this is happening, and also there's this paper. Where's the paper? ChatGPT. We're using Spotlight, the thing that I was talking about, to find that. So how is ChatGPT behavior changing over time? Let's pull that up. All right. So they're research papers. This is from Cornell. Oh wait, no, this is from Stanford. Why was it in Cornell's? Why was it in Cornell's search then? Anyway, I guess it's from Stanford and UC Cal. And this is a whole research paper demonstrating using empirical evidence how much ChatGPT 4 has gotten, like how bad it's gotten compared to where it was. Here, I'll zoom in just a little bit just to like make this abundantly clear, right? So we see here the accuracy of ChatGPT 4 in March this year was at 84%. However, we fast forward, what, 3 months? It's June 6th? Yeah, I think that's 3 months. We fast forward 3 months and we have a more than 30, well, a more than 30-point reduction in accuracy, right? And this is something that you pay for. ChatGPT 3 is free. ChatGPT 4 is $20 a month, and it's worse. All right, gonna go research SWE programs. Thanks for the suggestion. We'll catch you next time. I'm curious, where are you based? There are a few programs that I would recommend. Well, never mind. I don't actually, let's see. Well, I guess the only way I can recommend programs is if I knew what your GRE score is. Like, depending on your GRE score, as well as the background that you have, you know, like if you were at like a top 4 accounting firm, and let's say you have connections, you've done some meaningful work, you're in the US, but living as a digital nomad. Where are you based at? Because I think that some of the universities, I think that you can do it remotely. I think. Let's see who has, I want to say, I think Cal has an engineering program, maybe. Let's see. But for what it's worth, I'm in Texas. So like I could just recommend just go to UT, but I didn't go to UT. So LA. Like Louisiana? LA? Oh, Big Four. Okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. Are you opposed to attending the school outside of the country? For instance, like in Europe, because they're much cheaper. And I guess maybe you should explain, why do you want to do a master's degree? Let's back up. Yeah, tell me, why do you want to get a master's degree in computer science? Oh, LA. All right, that's L.A. Why do you want to get a computer science degree? What do you think it is going to enable you to do? I think that's more important. Maybe I can help save you 6 figures of money. So you want to continue working. Okay. I think continuing to work is probably a good idea while you go to school, if you go to school. Because one thing that I'm going to be honest about, I generally don't recommend people go to school at all. When I say school, I'm talking about college, unless you're trying to get into something that requires you to have a professional degree, like a master's degree or a PhD. So are you going to school because you want to get a job? Are you trying to career switch? And if so, I would actually push you to not go to school to try to career switch. There are much better routes to doing that. And the reason that I'm saying this is because you're not going to learn how to, if you're trying to get a job, you're not going to learn how to build useful software by going to college. Turns out all of the professors in college, they're teachers. Most of them have not worked in industry. Not all, but most of them have not worked in the industry. And the ones who did, they didn't work in the industry for long and they went to teaching. So chances are you're not going to learn how to actually build software, which is a whole other skill set outside of learning how to pass an assignment, right? Like assignments are very trivial. They're very easy. They're like, they're in a walled garden. So you're not really having to deal with reality. And professors, because, they're professors, they're not really dealing with reality, right? They're dealing with students. It's a vast difference. You like to move more into tech-enabled role at the same firm with respectable credentials. Well, I will be honest, someone who has a master's degree, I don't really respect them any more than someone who doesn't have a degree. In fact, some of the best engineers I've ever worked with in my life don't even have degrees. And this is going to be a little counterintuitive, but there is some sense of people who go out and see credentials in the tech space, at least in engineering. People who go out and see credentials, they're not respected as much as in other professions, because it's almost like you're leaning on a credential to say, hey, I know what I'm doing, versus the work that you've done that says, hey, I actually know what I'm doing. For instance, I just have a bachelor's degree, and at no point in time has any company ever asked, what degree do you have? Ever. Even my first job. I got my first job before I even graduated, actually. And at no point did they say, your employment is contingent upon you graduating. They never even asked. They were just like, I don't even know if they cared if I graduated. I decided to graduate because, well, I had student loans. I didn't grow up like that where I had parents to just pay for myself. So I had student loans. So because of that, it was a principle. Plus, you could tell, like, I'm a darker color, and my grandmother graduated valedictorian of her class in high school. She was not able to go to college because of her skin color. My mom decided not to go to college for whatever reason. I think because she had a job and she was making more than most college graduates at the time. So in her mind, she's like, why would I go to college? So I'm a first generation college student. I believe that my grandmother wanted to go to college. And my grandpa also, like, he had to drop out when he was a young age. I think when he was in 6th grade or 7th grade or something like that. And I think he always pushed me towards, get my education, because he never did. So a lot of me going and finishing was for them, as well as, student loans. Where it's like I took out debt, so it's like, all right, it may as well get the piece of paper. But yeah, like, if you're going to school just because you think it's going to be a signal that you know something, I'm sorry to tell you that's not the case. There will be college graduates, like undergrads, who are going to know more than you. They're going to be people who have never even graduated college. They're still in high school, who know and can do more than you as a master's student. So I wouldn't lean on going to graduate school to signal that or to get into that. What I would instead recommend you do is go through a boot camp. There are lots of boot camps that you can do. I don't really know of the one. I don't have recommendations, but I know one is like the Turing boot camp or something like that. Maybe they don't exist anymore. I don't know. Let's see, Turing School. So they claim that they're an accredited, whatever they are, admissions. Let's see, programs: front-end engineering, back-end engineering, and launch program. The one that I would recommend you do, because it's the easiest, like, this is how a lot of new folks come into this space, is they go into like front-end engineering, which is a lot easier. And you can get jobs at a lot of different places using that, and it's a lot easier to get a job. Like, I would say almost an order of magnitude easier to get a job as going into front end. And then you can continue to grow and build up yourself so that you can go into more, like, I guess they call it back end, which I don't understand why they call it that, because as a generalist, like, every system has a back end and a front end, even compilers. But that's neither here nor there. Most people aren't computer scientists. They're not thinking that way. They're thinking about web development. So I would go in through web development. This is a much shorter program. You're going to learn useful skills like that can get you a job today, versus, oh, I learned how to balance a binary tree. That's what you're going to learn as a computer science graduate student. Let's see. How much do you charge for consultations? I mean, we're talking now. This is free. So like, yeah, you could just chat here, man. You don't have to pay anything. I don't think that stuff like this should be like charged, right? It's just like, I'll tell it to you. And my mindset is, if you're doing the stuff, I'll continue to tell it to you. It's only when you don't do the stuff, when it's like, all right, I've identified you as a waste of my time. At that point, I could charge you, or I could just be like, I have other things to do. So right now, I don't have a number for you, unfortunately. But in the future, if we start getting more detailed stuff and you're starting to actually make some progress and you're doing some stuff, we can discuss that later. Maybe I won't charge anything, right? I'm just happy to have some people to talk to sometimes. But yeah, this is one. The thing that I did was, and I know that other people can do this. I am a alumni of the Recurse Center, which is, if I cannot spell today. Here, let's see. I'm gonna see. So yeah. So let's see the retreat. Well, I guess they're saying programmers. I don't know if it was. Well, anyways, this is basically it's self-led, right? So you say that, hey, I want to learn how to do X, Y, or Z, or I want to like get deeper into some subject matter. Well, the Recurse Center is a program where you go in. It's 100% free, right? And it's self-directed learning, and everyone else who's there they're also learning whatever they want. There's no curriculums. It's just a community of people who are incredibly smart. And I mean like incredibly smart. I cannot overstate how smart a lot of these people are. I've met some like truly brilliant, like actual genius people through here. And you will learn a lot, because not only are you in an environment where other people are trying to, get deeper into a subject, and they're going to be talking about what they're doing, and it's going to make you want to talk about what you're doing. And you can get into here. I think you do need a recommendation from a Recurse alum. So that's the one gotcha or caveat here. But you see here, you work on a project that you want to do. So I'm of the mindset that if you want to learn how to program, learn how to program. I learned how to program when I was in 7th grade. I didn't even have to go to a school. I just read the manual. I can send you the manual that I read. I don't know if it'll help you, but if you want to do it, just start doing it. That's the best way to do it. Let's see. Let me put this on the thing. Would like to have a more detailed conversation regarding the industry if possible. I've already taken a few Python courses at Georgia Tech and built automations at the firm. So at this point, you're already doing it, right? So it's really just a matter of figuring out what you would like to do. For what it's worth, I do have a link in my link tree. You can just go there. There's a thing that says coffee chat. It's like 15 minutes, and no, it's not. You don't have to pay anything for that. The only thing that I will say is that it will be contingent on my availability. It's only synced to one of my calendars. However, I have 5 separate calendars. So if I can't make it, I'll just be like, I'll reschedule it. And, we'll do that back and forth for up to 2 times, because I can't do it that often. But yeah, like what I would recommend is you first figure out what you want to do, right? Like, do you want to do front end? I'm gonna stop using that, because it doesn't make sense to me. Do you want to do web development? Do you want to do like data science type stuff? Are you interested in machine learning? Would you prefer to do artificial intelligence? Because it matters, right? Like all of these different sub-disciplines of the greater discipline of computer science, they require different skill sets, right? Like you may want to get into systems, or I don't know. I doubt you want to do this right now, but like there's compilers, there's languages, there's developer operations or DevOps, where you're like building infrastructure. There's testing, there's security, there's so many things within tech, right? If that's what you're trying to do, if you're just trying to get more on the tech side. And there's also the consulting bit, right? So like the management of information systems, there's actually programs called MIS dedicated solely to how do you manage these systems. It is different from IT, but they are related, right? IT is about information technology, the things that we use to enable a lot of these other things that we do. So first figure out what you want to do. If you were doing Python course, so you at least learn the language, which is good. That's a good first step. Start automating stuff in your life. That's how I started. When I learned how to program, honestly, I didn't even know what programming was when I learned. I just came across the manual. In fact, I think I downloaded the manual last time because I was going down memory lane. Let's see, TI 80. Yeah, I have it. Yeah, see, look at here. So yeah, I have the manual here. Or wait, did it? No. Oh, we discovered that it didn't actually download the manual. Never mind. Well, in section 16, it's called programming. That's when I learned what programming was. I didn't even know what it was back then. And the reason why I learned it was to solve a very specific problem. I hate doing anything. All right, you'll get to know this if you follow me long enough. I hate doing stuff. And I was in my algebra 2 class, I think. Yeah, it was algebra 2. I was ahead in math, so like I did a lot of my math stuff early. In any case, I was in algebra 2, and I'm getting messages from people. All right, I don't think these are important. Let me put myself in stream mode right quick, because they're gonna keep popping up now. Where's streaming? We'll do for an hour. Yeah. So I had a problem where I didn't want to do my homework, and when I discovered that I can write something where I would never have to do my homework again, that's what prompted me to get into programming. So I would reflect on, why did you want to automate what you automated, right? Take grasp of that and then use that to determine where you want to go. And I think the best way to figure that out is to automate stuff in your own day-to-day life, right? Like, there might be something that you do on your computer every time you start, you have to do it. Automate that. A good example, and here's one that you're looking at right now, is my live stream. When I first started these 18 months to, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, it was a lot of effort to start this, and not even just live streaming, but to just like record and like share what I was doing with my team at the time. It was a lot. It took me damn near 30 minutes to kind of get stuff set up, get stuff in order. Now it's at a point where if I want to go live, I press a button, and I mean that. Like, I literally press a button, all of my applications open up, it puts me on the right scene, it turns on my mic, it turns on my lights, and it pops up the prompt for me to name the stream, and I press go live, and I actually have a button on my little stream deck to do that, right? So it went from me having to do all these extra steps to me having to do one button. And lately I've been working on this YouTube Slack bot, that's what I call it. I haven't been doing it, I don't think I've worked on it this week, but it's something that's going to enable me to automate more of this. Like, maybe you were here when I created this note over here. I don't want to have to do this. To me, this is beneath me. I can automate this. My computer can do this. So I've actually built something where, eventually it will pop up a thing in my Slack channel, give me the link to the stream manager on Twitch as well as on YouTube. It doesn't do that right now, which is why I'm not actually looking at it, but it'll pop those things up for me. It'll also generate this little note right here with the name of the stream with task and notes. And as I go in and type my task and my notes and I mark things off as completed, when I end the stream, it will eventually dump that into the description. I can use AI to not only transcribe my audio for subtitles, but I can also take that transcription, dump it into OpenAI or like Llama, some large language model, to generate a summary of my stream and automatically update it on the YouTube and on the Twitch and all these things. So that's coming. I'm not doing that right now. I'm mostly figuring out like why is ChatGPT so trash right now. But yeah, hopefully this is helpful, maybe. But yeah, just go to my LinkedIn, or not my LinkedIn, I'm sorry, my Linktree. It's in my About section on YouTube somewhere on my channel. So just go there and you'll see something called Coffee Chat. Just do that. And yeah, happy to help. All right, so let's go back to, what's this? I guess I can close that. And I'll close this as well. Okay, so dictionary and safety. Oh, all right, we have another. Thank you for the primer. I'll take the following actions next week. Research difference between knowledge gains from SWE versus CS. Determine what I would like to focus on. Book a session. Yeah. I think it's important. I would switch 1 and 2. Determine what you want to do first. And then maybe do number 1, which is research the difference between SWE and CS. How can I explain it? I would call computer science to physics as engineering is to software engineering, right? Like, one is fundamental. You do use it, and like you do use computer science and software engineering. Although there's a lot of things in software engineering that you will never touch on in computer science because they're different. So just keep that in mind. you're not really interrupting the stream. There's no agenda today, so don't don't worry about that. Like, there's no agenda. As you can see here, these are the only two things that I had, but I do need to put this into my notes for the editor, just to brief conversation about going to school to get into tech. Interested in doing masters. Yes, I advised to consider, what is that, SWE instead, if the goal is to become a I don't know, like a tech worker. And maybe I should spell brief. Oh, I did spell it right. All right, cool. All right, yeah, no worries. Have a good rest of the day, and appreciate you joining in. Okay, so back to the dictionary. We have all of these different tabs here, and right now I have it on all. And what that's going to do is it's going to pull up, like, it's literally pulling up all of these things here in the order that they appear, if there is something that matches. All right, so let's just make this a little bit bigger. We'll do this. Wait, why did that not? Okay, that was weird. All right, so you'll see here that it's separated. So we first have English, which is this right here, which is, now we're gonna have that definition. We've already gone over that. And then we'll have phrases. And then, like, this is part of in the English dictionary, right? And then we're gonna go into the thesaurus, which is gonna give you different words that are related to it. In fact, if you're into large language models, you could consider this the distance of a word or of a concept from another concept. So let's look at some of the other words that are similar. Let's see. She is still driving too fast for the safety of local residents. Welfare, well-being, protection, and security. The antonym, aka the opposite of safety, is danger. All right, so I think this is important. Research into the safety of roll-on, roll-off ferries. Security, soundness, secureness, dependability, reliability, impregnability. So this seems to be around keeping things secure, right? Making sure that they're like firm, that they hold still. They have to reach out to safety, open water, to shelter, sanctuary, refuge, medicine, harmlessness, lack of side effects. So we have different perspectives on what safety is, you know, using different words. That's kind of what this thesaurus is giving us. And then I go into Wikipedia and note that it's in the order that they appear here, which is also in the, oh, damn it, why did I do that? Which is also in the order that they are arranged here. And remember, you can rearrange these as you see fit. Oh my gosh, I don't understand why I had to do that part though. So let's do safety again and we'll do all. All right, then we get the Wikipedia entry. So it seems like safety can be disambiguated. So if you wanted to get further information on this, you would actually have to click this. It will take you to the Wikipedia stuff here. It's just, Wiki is like a format almost. So this can render Wiki in the app. So we have all of these different ways of disambiguating the word safety. But here we have is the condition of being protected against harmful conditions or events, or the control of hazards to reduce risk. Safety may also refer to these things here. So let's go ahead and click this. And this is going to be the safety that we care about. I'm not going to get into this. I'm going to go back. There is a keyboard shortcut that you can use to go back and forward on macOS. It's command square bracket, left square bracket in this case. So I'll go back twice. All right, so we'll kind of go down here. Oh wait, did I? Oh yeah. Okay, next we get into my other dictionary. So it seems that it is able, wait, uncountable. Oh no. I guess that is safety. Okay, so it is. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that it would do that too. So it's almost like a reverse dictionary too, where I can type in a word in English and it could give me the Chinese. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know this. I've just learned something myself. So this Anshan. Cool. What is this? Oh, this is traditional. Okay, so like I use traditional when I need to figure out what's something that's saying in characters that I don't recognize. But in this case, I think that this is basically the same as this. Yeah, they're the same. All right. No, they're not the same. This one has a hat. This one has a hat. This one doesn't have a hat. Okay, interesting. But yeah, so this is how you use the dictionary, right, in macOS. So let's also go to my other dictionary, because I don't like to just use one dictionary when I'm trying to figure out the meaning of a word. And let's make sure we just select English here, because that's all this dictionary gives me is English. And this is the free dictionary, but I pay for it, so it's not that free. So this has a similar definition: the condition of being safe, freedom from danger, risk, or injury. A device designed to prevent accidents, as a lock on a firearm preventing accidental firing. Okay, so I'm going to assume that the thing that OpenAI, when they say safety, I think it's between 1 and 2. The condition of being safe, freedom from danger. Now, what danger am I in using an online tool? I have no idea, but maybe we'll figure that out. Then number 2, a device designed to prevent accidents, which is like, it's almost like how do you say it? You design it in a system, right? So OpenAI is a system, and it's designed so that it won't lead to certain incidents happening. What is an incident? Is just something, right? Some event happening. Now we have this other thing down here, which is I'm not sure which dictionary this comes from. Oh, it's the Collins. Okay, it literally says it. So this right here is American Heritage Dictionary. This is the Collins English Dictionary. Quality of being safe, which is very similar up here. Freedom from danger, all right, same. Contrivance or device designed to prevent injury, which I think that's what this is right here. And then let's see, this is the Random House Kerneman Webster's College Dictionary. The state of being safe from the risk of experiencing or causing injury, danger, or loss. So I think I need to understand what is injury, because I don't think that ChatGPT at any point it can ever give me a response that's going to lead to danger or loss of anything. Device, or maybe loss of pride, maybe. If I go around thinking that I'm right and it's like it tells me that I'm wrong, maybe it'll hurt my pride. Maybe that's what they mean by keeping me safe, like they don't want to hurt my feelings, maybe. All right, a device to prevent injury or avert danger. I did not know this. Safety is slang for a condom. I did not know that. Yeah, that's interesting. All right, we have the Similes Dictionary. So feel as safe as a lone subway rider at 2 a.m. Yeah, we don't need to go through that. And we also have thesaurus here. So safety, the state of being certain that adverse effects will not be caused by some agent under defined conditions. So I think this right here, adverse effects will not be caused. Okay, ensure the safety of children, a state at a particular time or condition. I don't think that's what we care about. Risklessness, impregnability. Okay, it's just giving me different definitions. Okay, so let's go to ChatGPT or OpenAI, and let's see if we can Google some things about safety. See what they have to say about safety and how they're keeping me safe, and from what are they keeping me safe from. Okay, our approach to AI safety. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Ensuring that AI systems are built, deployed, and used safely is critical to our mission. What do they mean by safely? Like used safely, and who determines if the use is safe? This is my issue, because I've had ChatGPT refuse to give me responses, or give me watered down responses, or give me basically just nothing, just gaslighting me. And it's in the name of safety. And I'm wondering, like, safety to who and from what, as well as who determines what is safe? Because it's an issue if there are people who get to, impose their view of the world onto me and others in my community, as well as others in any other community. I have an issue with that. All right, OpenAI is committed to keeping powerful AI safe and broadly beneficial. Again, we have safe, but they don't define what safety is. I'm gonna open this up in a separate tab. We know our AI tools provide many benefits to people today. Our users around the world have told us that ChatGPT helps to increase their productivity, enhance their creativity, and offer tailored learning experiences. We also recognize that, like any technology, these tools can come with real risk. So we work to ensure safety is built into our system at all levels. Okay, I agree with this statement here. Most things, not just technology, but most things have risk, but they don't enumerate any of the risk. If they're real, then they should be able to enumerate what they are, and they're not. This is opaque, it's vague, because I don't know, like I've been in this world long enough to, it's like anytime there's something vague or opaque, it's not for the reasons that they're telling me. Otherwise, like they would be transparent, but they're not. Anyway, let's keep reading. Building increasingly safe AI systems. I'm going to read that as less useful systems. Prior to releasing any new system, we conduct rigorous testing, engage external experts for feedback. Who are these external experts? And what makes them an expert? But anyway, for feedback. Work to improve the model's behavior with techniques like reinforcement learning with human feedback and broad safety and monitoring systems. So I'm wondering if this human feedback, is this other rich people from other rich Western nations, or is this everyone, like the people who are poor, who don't have the same benefits and luxuries that we have here in America? Or is it a bunch of rich people who've gone to a bunch of elite rich schools who've never actually had to go through real adversity? Is it just them? Because I would say that we're all very different. Like what they think is like, I don't know, like what they think may be right, it may be very different from what I think is right. So they're imposing their morals on others, and I have an issue with that. Anyway, let's keep reading. For example, after our latest model, GPT-4, finished training, we spent more than 6 months working across the organization to make it safer and more aligned prior to releasing it publicly. More aligned. I have an issue with this statement because more aligned to what? I am of the opinion that aligned is almost like it's a aligned B. Like you need, like what are you aligning with? Right? Like you need two things. Like what are you aligning and what are you aligning it with? And this just says and more aligned, but it doesn't specify with what. So I'll keep moving on. In fact, I should mark this up. Can I mark this up using this? Probably not. I'm gonna have to figure out how to mark up stuff in the future. I'm not gonna figure it out right now, but I will add that to my thing right here. So I've covered using dictionary. We've covered what is safety. So let's figure out what is safety. Oops. What it does safety. Well, we'll underscore that safety mean to OpenAI, and we'll do that. It's just a little bit smaller. All right, so there's some things that I'm gonna put in my notes because like I don't agree. It's not that I don't agree, it's just that they haven't given me anything to agree with or disagree with, really. Let's see. We know our AI, our systems have told us that, okay. We also recognize that these tools come with us. So we built safety, okay. So we'll put this, and I have a few questions. All right, what are the risks? The real risk. We'll make sure we put that in there because that's what they said. They used, I know they were intentional about the words that they use. So I'm going to be intentional in how I interpret them. And then to ensure safety is built into, okay, so ensure safety. Okay. Do that. All right, and then there is something else that I caught onto here. Engage external experts for feedback. So why did I do that? All right, so let's why is this doing that? Who are these experts? What makes them experts? And also, like, where are they from? And stuff like, I care about their economic side, like the SES as well. And where are they from, and what is their SES background? I'll put my question mark there. Okay, all right. Okay, with learning with human feedback. Reinforcement learning with human feedback. I would like to know who these humans are. Just in this one paragraph, or just like in what I've read so far, they've mentioned safety a lot. Let's see how many times safety is mentioned in here. Safe, 27 times. Well, let's ignore that. 26, 25 times safety is mentioned in this article, or this blog, or this post, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. All right, let's keep moving forward. Oops, and let me make sure I put improve here. There we are. All right, so I think I've already read this right here, but I'll read it again because there's something that I cared about right here. So we spent more than 6 months working across the organization to make it safer. So when I see the word safer, that implies that there was some level of safety inherent in the thing, and they just made it more safe and more aligned. But like, this is the key. This is what I care about right here. More aligned to what? And because I see this word safer, I now want to know, like, how were they measuring safety to begin with, right? Like, if you have something that's some adjective, and then you have something that's more of that adjective, it's a comparison, that must imply that you have some way to measure that thing, because you can't compare without measuring. So how are they measuring safety? Okay, we believe that powerful AI systems should be subject to rigorous safety evaluations. Okay. Whose? We'll just say who evaluates. And I am curious, like, what are those evaluations? because none of this is, I mean, it's just right now, like I'm beginning this because I got pissed off, right? Like I'm starting to like really dive deeper into like, yeah, if this is going to be if these are going to be the systems that are going to change people's lives and to determine, you know, who gets what and like who's able to live a fulfilled life, yeah, I'm gonna have to get to this because I have a real issue with this, and unfortunately, I have taken part in this world that we're progressively heading down, or this new world that we're I don't know, we're going towards, and I kind of regret my part in taking part in it, but yeah, maybe I can do something to course correct. We'll see. Regulation is needed to ensure that such practices are adopted, and we actively engage with governments on the best form such regulations could take. Okay, fine. I don't have an issue with that, especially if they're working with governments, and I'm keying in on this plural here. And when I say with governments, I think it should be all governments. So why did they not say all governments? Like, because that makes a meaningful difference. Governments can be two. All governments. How many countries are there on Earth? How many countries on Earth? 196 countries. Yeah, I'm going to call this 196 countries. Unless let's see if this actually has. Okay, so it doesn't have Taiwan, so I'm going to say there are 196 countries on this Earth, right? And so I am going to keep back in on that, like this right here, because this is still ambiguous. Where are we at? Regulation is needed, and we actively engage with governments on the best form. Okay, right there. So I'm curious which governments now, because it's ambiguous. And then I'm just gonna say, why was all not used? All right, cool. And which governments? And there are 196. Wait, is it completing parentheses? That's cool. I didn't know it would do that. Okay. We've now gone through 2 paragraphs, or maybe 4. Maybe we'll call this 4, but 1 section so far. Okay, learning from real world use to improve safeguards. Okay. Let's see, let's define safeguard. I'm using Spotlight to do that this time. So we'll do safeguard. A measure taken to protect someone or something undesirable, or to prevent something undesirable. Interesting. So this is being used as a noun. So we can ignore this definition out here. To improve safeguards. Okay. All right, I have an issue with this, but I'm going to keep reading, and I think I'm going to come back into here, because like when they say improve safeguards, if I read that word and I expand it out, and it says protect someone or something, or to prevent something undesirable. So these safeguards are things that prevent something undesirable, and that begs the question: what is undesirable? I don't know. They haven't specified so far, but I'm only a couple paragraphs in, so maybe they'll specify it in this block of paragraphs. We work hard to prevent foreseeable risk before deployment. I would like to know what those risks are, but okay. However, there's a limit to what we can learn in a lab. I don't disagree with that. Despite extensive research and testing, we cannot predict all of the beneficial ways people will use our technology, nor all the ways people will abuse it. What constitutes abuse? All right, so I have 2 questions from that. Why can't I spell occurred? All right, so what constitutes abuse? Also, who determines if an abuse has occurred? These are important questions, I think. That's why we believe that learning from real world use is a critical component to creating and releasing increasingly safe AI systems over time. Increasingly safe. So this is another time that they've used a comparison word here, right? They have increasingly, and then they had make it safer, right? So like this is a comparison here, which is begging the question, how are they measuring safety? And I'm gonna key into this because like this is important to me now. How are they measuring safety? This is important to me because like if it's not transparent, then honestly, this is just a tool used to control people. Like just being real, like if there's no transparency and there's no process for folks using these tools to have their say in what constitutes an improvement of safety, then this is an issue. We cautiously and gradually release new AI systems, as they should, I think, with substantial safeguards in place. Okay, so again, what are the safeguards? All right, to a steadily broadening group of people and make continuous improvements based on the lessons we learn. We make our most capable models available through our own services and through an API so developers can build this technology directly into their apps. This allows us to monitor for and take action on misuse. Oh, they're monitoring. Oh, this sounds big brothery, but I mean, that's fair. I think that they should monitor. I mean, that's something. But like to take action on misuse, they haven't defined honestly, they haven't defined what is an appropriate use. So how would I know what is a misuse? And continually build mitigations that respond to the real ways people misuse our systems, not just theories about misuse, about what misuse might look like. Okay, all right. I think there's something I need to do here. So we'll do OpenAI terms of service. Yeah, I think the terms of service will define what is a misuse. Wait, is there terms and policies? Okay, so this is probably more useful to me. So let's put this in here. So we'll do, you know what? I'll stop doing that. We'll do it this way. So we'll say OpenAI TOS. Right. And this is their approach to safety. Okay. So I think that I should be able to answer some of my questions in their TOS. I hope. We'll see. We'll see. All right. We make, I've already read this. Okay. Is there anything that I want to call out here though? Yeah, I think I want to take this right here. I forgot. I think my mom is not like my mom and only a few other people are able to get through my do not disturb. But fortunately, it's just her name. It's not like it means anything. All right, so let's see here. What is an appropriate use of their systems? All right, real world use has also led us to develop increasingly nuanced policies against behavior that represents a genuine risk to people while still allowing for many beneficial uses of our technology. Okay, I'm assuming, I don't understand. It's like, how are their policies going to reduce actual risk to people? Because let's be real, like, the risk it happens in the real world. So like, how are they, like, I don't understand. People can kill one another if they want, right? Like, that's what's gonna happen. Like, you could do it with a gun, you could do it with a knife, you could do it with your fist, you could do it with a lot of different things. So it's like, how is their technology making a meaningful difference in preventing this type of behavior? I don't know. It's something that's interesting. It's like, people think that their policies can like change actual behavior, and it's like, I mean, we still have murders and we have laws. Anyway, crucially, we believe that society must have time to update and adjust to increasingly capable AI, and that everyone who is affected by this technology should have a significant say in how AI develops further. Okay, all right, okay. So this is interesting to me. Because I agree with this. Emphatically, I agree with this. My question now is, how do people have a say? Iterative deployment has helped us bring various stakeholders into the conversation about the adoption of AI technology more effectively than if they hadn't had firsthand experience with these tools. Okay, this is another question that I have. Who are these variable stakeholders? And what is the conversation? I mean, like, this sounds like freaking corporate speak to me. All right, protecting children. Oh all right, so this is, I've noticed that whenever people want to take away your freedoms or your security or whatever, they always go to women and children. But I mean, we do need to have this here. Like, apparently, you know, I think people under 13 shouldn't use. Is that what this is? Yeah, it does say that. Yeah, we have laws here in America, so I don't disagree with this. We should obey the law. I'm gonna read it anyway. One critical focus of our safety efforts is protecting children. Okay, how do you think you're doing a better job than their parents? I think that's the job of the parents, is to protect children, not them. And they said this is a critical focus of their safety efforts, is protecting children. It's interesting. We require that people must be 18 or older, or 13 or older with parental approval to. Okay, all right. This is interesting. How do they know? Okay, wait. To use our tools and are looking into verification options. Oh, okay. So they don't have verification options, is what I'm hearing, or what I'm reading. When anyone's like, I'm looking into anything, I interpret that as we are doing nothing. Because every time I've heard people say, oh, I'll look into it or I'll think about it, what inevitably happens is they do nothing. I've now taken that statement to mean nothing. You're wasting my time at that point. Like they should have just said, we don't have a verification option. Instead, they're saying we're looking. And that, to me, this is gaslighting, where it's like they're telling me that they're doing something, but they're not really saying what they've done so far and where are they at along in the process. Like if I say that I'm doing something, I tend to give here's where I am, here's what I've done, here's what I have left, and here's an estimate of when I think I'll be done with that. Maybe they're going to answer some of these questions. I do admit that maybe I'm not being fair here, where instead of reading everything and then coming up with stuff, I'm picking it apart line by line. But as I pick it apart line by line, I'm still not getting answers, and I'll reevaluate after I've finished, which I'm not that far from finishing. All right, so use our AI tools and looking at verification option. All right, we do not permit our technology to be used to generate hateful, harassing, violent, or adult content, among other categories. Violent or adult content. I'm just curious though, if they require that the people using this are adults, 18 or older, at least in America, why would you serve adults child content? Because in my opinion, anything that's not children content is for adults. I know what they mean here, but like what they should say, they should be explicit in what they mean by adult content. Like, cause an idea may be considered adult content, but what I think they should have said is sexually explicit content. Although, like, who gives a fuck? Like, if you're an adult, like, I don't. Anyway, let's just keep reading. So they don't to use to generate hateful. All right, I got to figure out what is hateful, because I don't know. I've been told that I'm hateful, so I now need to understand what is hateful. Arousing, deserving of, or filled with hatred. I doubt that that's what I am. Very unpleasant. Maybe, sure, I may be unpleasant. Yeah, sure. I don't have to stay in this hateful place. That's not really giving me much information. Let's go to the actual dictionary here. Let's see, hateful. Oops, if I spell it correctly, maybe we'll get an answer. Eliciting or deserving hatred. Feeling or showing hatred. I mean, if me saying that most people aren't worth even my emotional energy, if that's hatred, then sure. For me, I look at it as more like apathy. I give zero fucks. Informal, very unpleasant or unappealing. Maybe that's the one that applies to me. Let's see, synonyms: hateful, detestable, odious, offensive, repellent. Okay, these are often interchangeable adjectives. Okay, that's not giving me much more. Oh wait, deep animosity, detestable, displeasure or aversion. Oh wait, displeasure or aversion. So aversion may be hatred. A strong dislike or disinclination. A person or thing that arouses strong feelings or dislike. Okay. Aversion the most. Okay. So a strong dislike. So there's a qualifier word here. Like a strong dislike. I do have a strong dislike of a lot of things. So maybe that is why I'm hateful, is because I have an aversion to things. But I don't know if that's fair to limit my abilities to do something just because I have an aversion against something. Like I have an aversion to doing work, but I don't know if it's that bad. All right, causing or deserving hate, loathsome, detestable, full of showing. All right, so I think I understand hateful, and let's see how they're using it here, and they're protecting children. Generate. I'm curious, like, because they have this under the header, protecting children, does this not apply to adults? Like, are they just saying protecting children to gaslight me into accepting that these right here are acceptable? The only thing here that I see is acceptable is this right here, right? Like this. In fact, I would go so far as to say that any child who is 18 or younger, or who lives with their parents, should have parental approval. because there's this gap here where it's like you have to be 18 or older, but then there's like this, well, what about folks who are 12? Like they're gonna use it. How are you verifying? Again, they're looking into it. All right, anyway, let's move on. We do not permit our technology to be used to generate hateful, harassing, violent, adult content. Harassing, I thought, is an action that someone must take. I didn't know that was a type of content that they can limit, or maybe I don't know what harassing means. I got to figure out what harassing means, because apparently I don't know what the hell harassing means anymore. I'm finding that because words are being redefined, it's hard for me to navigate through life, because when I learned the definition of a word, I'm a spelling bee kid, so like I know words. I'm just like, wait, that doesn't mean what I thought it meant. So harass, to subject to hostile or prejudiced remarks or actions, pressure or intimidate, to irritate or torment, to make repeated attacks or raids. I don't understand how their policy is going to prevent this. I just don't get it. Like, I really don't get how their policy, unless they mean like their AI won't be able to give you a strategy for how you can harass someone. If that's what it means, then okay. But it's a bit ambiguous. It's leaving a lot of questions unanswered for me. All right, violent or adult content, among other categories. I think we do need to look at violent, because I've noticed that this is one of the words that has been redefined. Well, it still says, it's still the definition I know, but maybe it's being used with another connotation. But let's read this definition. Using or involving physical force. That's a key word right here. Physical force. Intended to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something. Okay. Let's move on to the second point. Especially of an emotion or an unpleasant or destructive natural force. Very strong or powerful. I wonder if they're equating power to a violent. Maybe, I doubt it. Of color, vivid. Okay. Law, involving, I think this is more important here. Involving or an unlawful exercise or exhibition of force. And force is typically physical. Let's go ahead and see here. Let's see. We're not interested in one. That's not the one. Here, number 2, coercion or compulsion, especially with the use or threat of violence, aka our government. That's what a government is. A government has a monopoly on this right, or at least they have a perceived monopoly. It's not a true monopoly. I may get canceled for this. They have a perceived monopoly on violence or force. I'm not seeing how I don't understand how they're getting to here. I don't understand how they can prevent this. Harassing or violent. I can understand generating hateful, sure. I get that. I don't understand this right here. Adult content, yeah, whatever. Semantics, pedantic, yeah, whatever. I can ignore that. Among other categories, I assume that these other categories are enumerated in their terms of service, so I'm not gonna go into that. But I am gonna call these two out right quick. Okay, harassing and violent. I'm curious, like, do they mean they won't give a plan to enact violence? All right, we'll move on. Our latest model, GPT-4, is 82% less likely to respond to requests for disallowed content compared to... Okay, I assume disallowed content are these things right here. That's what I'm going to assume. And we have established a robust system to monitor for abuse. Sure. GPT-4 is, honestly, I hate when I see corporate speak like this. Like, what makes it robust? I don't think they're using, maybe they are using this word the way it's meant to be used, but I don't think they are. GPT-4 is now available to ChatGPT Plus subscribers, and we hope to make it available to even more people over time. So in other words, if you pay for GPT-4, it is 82% less likely to respond to your request. I have no other way to read that. Or to state it differently, if I use ChatGPT 3.5, I am much more likely to get more useful results. I don't think that's great. I had to call this out. Or I'm gonna frame it differently. Does this mean that ChatGPT 3.5 or GPT GPT 3.5 is more dangerous? Because if ChatGPT 4 is 82% less likely, then that must mean than GPT 3.5. Then that must mean that GPT 3.5 is more dangerous. Yet that's the one that's free. In my opinion, it should be the other way around. The one that's more dangerous should be paid for, and the one that's less dangerous should be free. Man, I can't spell today. So my question is, why do they charge for the lesser tool, if I can spell again, while making the more dangerous tool freely available? We need a comma here and here. And you're going to have to ignore this one. Oh, okay, I guess, whatever. We're going to dismiss that. Okay, we made significant effort to minimize the potential for our models to generate content that harms children. I give zero fucks. I'm sorry. I just don't care. I know, like, that's the common thing. Oh, someone please think of the children. I don't give a fuck about them children. I don't care anymore. I only care about my children, and I have none. So, or the children in my family, which, I don't think that they care as much about the children in my family than I do. That's just me being real. But who knows? Maybe that's just me. Let's see. Let's keep going. For example, all right, this is the first time we're getting an example. This is good. When users try to upload known child sexual abuse material to our images tool, we use Thorn's Safer to detect, review, and report it to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I mean, just because someone uploads a picture doesn't mean it. Anyway, that's another whole thing. But I don't know what this is. Oops, what did I just do? Anytime when you have acronyms, this is when I just lose all respect for it. It's just like, yeah. Anyway, let me just put this in my notes. Safer by Thorn. Safer, okay. Thorn Safer. Okay, we'll close that out for now. And they reported to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Okay. In addition to our default safety guardrails, again, they don't. They say in addition, but they haven't. What are they? What are the default ones? They haven't specified what the default guardrails are, and then they say this in addition to, but like, what are the first ones? We work with developers like the nonprofit Khan Academy, which has built an AI-powered assistant that functions as both a virtual tutor for students and a classroom assistant for teachers on tailored safety mitigations for their use case. We're also working on features that would allow developers to set stricter standards for model outputs to better support developers and users who want such functionality. I don't know if I understand this. I don't understand this. I don't really have any questions. I just don't get it. On tailored safety mitigations for their use case. Maybe I'm just going to agree with this, right? Like, this almost sounds like they're giving power to the end user to determine their own safety standards. Maybe. I don't know. It's unclear, to be honest. Respecting privacy, I call bullshit. I call extreme bullshit. They didn't respect anyone's privacy when they were training their models on intellectual property, on information and writing that no one agreed or consented to, and now all of a sudden they're going to gaslight me and say that they're respecting privacy. I call bullshit on that. But let's keep going. Our large language models are trained on a broad corpus of text that includes publicly available content. I love how they put this publicly available. Okay, sure. Licensed content and content generated by human reviewers. This right here is most of their content, and they also listed it first, which is good because that's the most of it. I don't think that they can truly say they respect privacy and just say, oh, well, it's publicly available, therefore it's okay. Right? Like, anyway. We don't use data for selling our services, advertising, or building profiles of people. We use data to make our models more helpful for people. Sure. ChatGPT, for instance, improves by further training on the conversations people have with it. What I would instead prefer that they say is that we use your data to be able to charge you more money to use our service. But they frame it to help people, and it's like, I don't know. When you're for profit, can you really claim that you're really trying to help people if that's your ultimate goal, is to be for profit? Like, would you help people if there were no profit? That's how I determine whether or not you are truly trying to help someone, is if you're willing to do it for nothing, for free. Now, of course, I know that, like, this is a business, but this is why I don't think businesses should say that they're just trying to help people. I mean, I'm not saying that that's not the only thing that, maybe that is one of the things, right? That's one thing that they're trying to do, but they also should be honest and say that the primary objective is to make money. That is the case for any company, right? Like, they have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders first, not to the people who they claim to want to help. Unless I have mistaken what a company is meant to do. Maybe I have. No. It was companies that brought people like my ancestors to this country. So I wonder, like, were they trying to help people or were they trying to make money? Or maybe I was only three. My ancestors were only 3/5 of a person when it was convenient. So maybe I don't count here. I'll move forward. While some of our training data includes personal information that is available on the public internet, We want our models to learn about the world, not private individuals. Bullshit. So we work to remove personal information from the training data sets where feasible. Fine-tune models to reject requests for personal information to a private, okay, and respond to requests from individuals to delete their personal information from our systems. These steps minimize the possibility that our models might generate responses that include the personal information of private. Okay, all right. For the most part, I call bullshit on this whole thing, but there's nothing here where it's just like, okay, there's a lot of unopened questions here, other than me calling bullshit on most of this. Improving factual accuracy. All right, this is a thing right here because facts are typically contested and debated. Who gets to say what is correct or right? I don't know. Is it established by consensus? And if it's consensus, is it everyone? Or is it only a certain group of people who are deemed experts or worthy of their opinions being valid in whatever questions we're asking? But let's read it. Today's large language models predict the next series of words based on patterns they have previously seen. How is that different from, okay, anyway, that's a technical question. including the text input the user provides. In some cases, the next most likely words may not be factually accurate. Improving factual accuracy is a significant focus for OpenAI and many other AI developers, and we're making progress. By leveraging user feedback on ChatGPT outputs that were flagged as incorrect as a main source of data. Okay, so they're using user feedback, okay. We have improved the factual accuracy of GPT-4. Okay, GPT-4 is 40% more likely to produce factual content than GPT-3.5. But we have this, I had that paper that's saying that no, that's actually false. It's less accurate. When users sign up to use the tool, we strive to be as transparent as possible that ChatGPT may not always be accurate. However, we recognize there is much more work to do further reduce it. Let's read this again. However, we recognize that there is much more work to do to further reduce the likelihood of hallucinations and to educate the public on the current limitations of these AI tools. Okay, there's nothing really, I mean, other than this. I have something that disagrees with this. Maybe I'll call it out. So I'm just going to say individual studies. Studies disagree. And then I'll put a ref to paper. Okay. All right. We're almost at the end. Continued research and engagement. We believe that a practical approach to solving AI safety concerns is to dedicate more time and resources to researching effective mitigations and alignment techniques and testing them against real-world abuse. I'm just curious, what is an alignment technique? And what are we aligning to? All right. Importantly, we also believe that improving AI safety and capability should go hand in hand. Our best safety work to date has come from working with our most capable models because they are better at following users' instructions and easier to steer or guide. We'll be increasingly cautious with creation and deployment of more capable models, and we'll continue to enhance safety precautions as our AI systems evolve. While we waited over 6 months to deploy GPT-4 in order to better understand its capabilities, benefits, and risks, it may sometimes be necessary to take longer than that to improve AI systems safety. Therefore, policymakers and AI providers will need to ensure that AI development and deployment is governed effectively at a global scale. Oh, wow, okay. Okay, sure. I see regulation as a way to keep people out. It increases the barrier to entry. I don't see regulation as inherently good, although I will say that I don't see it as bad either. However, this right here, effectively governed at a global scale, like governed effectively at a global, I don't know. Like, countries exist because they're different. Like, all groups and communities don't have to be the same. So which group wins? Like, I don't think that we can arrive to a global consensus on most things. But maybe it's just me being cynical, or maybe it's me being realistic. I'm gonna keep reading, but I think I'm gonna have to come back to that. So no one cuts corners to get ahead. Okay, this is a daunting challenge requiring both technical and institutional innovation, but it's one that is okay. It's institutional change. I don't know if I want that. Like, we don't need institutional change. Addressing safety issues also requires extensive debate, experimentation, and engagement, including on the bounds of AI system behavior. We have and will continue to foster collaboration and open dialogue amongst stakeholders to create it. Okay, so I have an issue with this right here. Wait, where was it? Right here. Therefore, policymakers and AI providers will need to ensure that AI development and deployment is governed effectively at a global scale. I'm gonna use the acronym. If you know what it is, you know. I'm not gonna say it because that may get me kicked off. And then my question here is, like, if they believe in democratic ideals, who votes for changes to these institutions? And another way of saying that is, if the people decide collectively, again, in a democratic form, in a country that's democratic, if they decide that they want X, and OpenAI and their stakeholders say they want Y, who wins? Like, do they really care about what people want, or are they more interested in making sure that they use their power, their money, their wealth to make sure that the institutions favor them? I'm just going to say history. I'm going to use history as my context. I think it's the latter. All right, so we're done with this, and I have a lot of questions just by going through this. Here are all of my questions that, yeah, overall, this was vague to me. And in fact, I'm going to use ChatGPT to see if it can, like, if it's going to notice anything that I've noticed. So we're going to use their own tool and see what they have to say. I'm using 3.5. I don't know if I'm going to pay just to see what 4 will give. Maybe I will. We'll see. So I'm going to give you an article, and I'd like you to give me to provide any questions that you have after, I don't know, reading it. Do you understand? And I'm going to probably end up prompting this a few times because I don't know if it's going to work. Okay. So let's see. We have 10 questions. How does OpenAI ensure the safety of its AI systems, particularly when releasing new models like GPT-4? Can you provide more details on the techniques used to improve safety and behavior of AI models, such as reinforcement learning with human feedback? 3, what are the key considerations and challenges in regulating powerful AI systems, as mentioned in the article? 4, how does OpenAI gather feedback and learn from real-world use? of its AI technology? 5. Could you elaborate on the measures OpenAI takes to protect children and prevent the generation of harmful content by AI models? 6. What steps does OpenAI take to respect privacy, especially in terms of data usage and handling personal information? 7. How is OpenAI working to improve the factual accuracy of its AI models, and what are the current limitations in this regard? 8. What is the role of user feedback in improving the accuracy of AI models? And how does OpenAI address user expectations regarding accuracy? 9. Can you provide insights into OpenAI's approach to balancing AI safety and capability deployment or development? 10. What are OpenAI's views on the governance of AI development and deployment at a global scale, and what steps are they taking to contribute to effective governance? Okay, all right. I'm going to say, here are some of my questions. Do you believe these to be fair and in good faith? Okay. They seek to clarify important aspects of OpenAI's approach. All right. These questions can provide valuable insight. Okay. All right. So far, you're saying that they're fair. All right. Let's see. I have, are these questions fair and in good faith? And then I'll say, if not, how can I improve them? Yeah, they are confrontational or overly focused on the personal backgrounds of the experts. To ensure they are perceived as fair and good faith, you could rephrase them in a way that maintains the core inquiry while being more respectful in a neutral tone. Okay, so 1, could you provide more information about the external experts you engage with for feedback on AI system safety? What criteria or qualifications are considered when selecting experts to assess the AI model's behavior and safety? So I think this is just a matter of taste. I actually hate questions phrased this way because they are a little bit beady around the bushy. I like directness, but I understand what this is. I understand these are my notes, but I'm glad that they're saying this because this is probably how I would ask it in actual life. All right. Is there any diversity in the backgrounds or perspectives of these external experts, such as their geographical locations or socioeconomic backgrounds? I'm glad that it was able to figure out what SES was, although that's not that difficult, I don't think. These revised questions still seek to understand the expertise and diversity of the experts involved, but in a more balanced and less confrontational manner. Okay. I am going to save these as part of this note here, just so that I can come back to it at a later date. All right, and then we'll see. Is this do it back? We'll just keep doing this here. Okay, cool. It's okay with that. Okay, it seems to think that this is a valid question asked in good faith. All right, thinks that this, all right, cool. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna have something to say about this one. But yeah, we're gonna, I don't know. Let's see what we get. All right. Why do you think I think there are 196 countries? I'm just curious what it's gonna say. see. Yeah, right here. It thinks it's 195. Ah, okay, look at that. It does understand that. Taiwan. All right, we're good. Let's move forward. Constitutes an abuse. So we'll do this right here. All right. Oops. So it seems that even OpenAI's own tool understands that there are gaps in that article that I just read. And it also seems to agree that the questions that I have are fair and valid, and also asked in good faith. There was one where it's like I'm a bit confrontational, but that's fine. These are my notes. You know, just because this is how I wrote it doesn't mean that this is how I would ask it in reality. Although who knows? I don't know. When I get tired and I don't have time to cater to people's emotions, I don't really care about how they feel or how it makes them feel. That's a them problem. It's typically not a me problem. All right, I think they gave something here about how they do this, so I'm gonna skip that one for now. I think I'm going to assume that I want to ask about this one actually before I assume. I think most of my questions are fair and valid, but this one could be conceived as not, so I'm curious. All right. They seek to, okay. However, to make the questions even more clear and concise, you can consider the following revisions. How does OpenAI define harassing content, and what measures are in place to prevent its generation? Sure. In the context of preventing violence, what steps does OpenAI take to ensure its AI systems do not generate content that promotes physical harm or force? Content that promotes. Okay, I can get behind that. Content that promotes physical violence. I think I can get behind that. These provisions maintain the core inquiry. All right, cool. I don't disagree with that. So I will just put ChatGPT refinements. Whoa. Wait, why did it not copy? What did it copy? You know what? Never mind. I'm just going to copy the link to the question, if I can do that, to here. Copy. Yeah, I copy that. Okay, let's see here. What are the default guide? I think that's fair. I don't think that's individual studies disagree. That's not a question. What is an alignment techniques? What are they? I think this is also fair. Is this code for NW? I'm not gonna ask that. Who votes for changes to these institutions? Okay, I think this is a good one to ask. Okay, all right, so based on all the questions I shared, how would you refine your questions to address my concerns? All right, so it pared it down, which is good. Okay, so we have one. Could you clarify how OpenAI defines abuse or misuse of its AI systems? 2. How does OpenAI determine whether a particular use of its technology constitutes abuse? 3. What measures does OpenAI have in place to prevent abusive or harmful content generation? 4. Could you explain OpenAI's criteria for appropriate and responsible uses of its AI systems? 5. How does this is wrong. This does not take into account my question around how do they establish experts, but that's okay. That's fine. This is good enough. I think I've done enough here on like getting to, or at least starting like, what is OpenAI safety? Okay. So with that, I have some things that I can do further. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm not going to do it now or today maybe, but I have some additional things to continue to start to understand why is OpenAI's ChatGPT becoming so much worse. For those of you who are also interested in this topic, I imagine that no one really is but me right now, but I imagine in the future there will be others. What I'm going to do is share the paper, which right here. I'm going to share this paper. What you could do is you go to download PDF. This is a research paper that was published not long ago about how ChatGPT's behavior has changed over time. So I'll just share that with you all. I encourage you to go and read this, just so that you can understand that I'm not just like, this isn't coming out of nowhere, right? This is actually like, there's a reason why I'm doing this right now. Open this back up. And I think that the usefulness of this tool is being made worse mostly due to the safety that they are doing. And that's why I have an issue, because if I'm going to pay for a tool, I don't want you to hamstring it because you think that something's unsafe, right? Like it's removing agency from me. And I think when governments and when institutions and when organizations, people I think that when you start to remove too much agency from people, bad things happen. We've seen it in our history. There are a lot of failed societies. In fact, most societies, all societies have a life cycle, and they all tend to do similar things where they start to go down these paths, and I'm starting to notice it here. So my streams are going to start taking a very different path. Sure, I may continue to do technical things, but I have a lot to say about a lot of things. So I'm going to start talking about those things. And hopefully you'll be here along for the ride. If not, I apologize if I lose you. But at the end of the day, I got to do something that I care about. And yeah, I'm not too hot on the direction we're headed, at least in America, in our society, or in the West. How about that? I'll just stick to the West. I don't want to speak about, other regions of Earth, because they're not dealing with the same problems and issues. However, I do understand that if what we do continues to go down this path and we start to assume more and more power, then it will start to have an effect on other places on Earth that don't think the way that we do, and that could lead to issues. And I have this belief that if you really care about people, you want peace. The best way to keep peace is to not trod onto others, or tread, or whatever word you want to use, onto others and their beliefs and their values, their morals, and to impose yours onto theirs. Like, I don't think that that's the way to keep peace. And I'm noticing over the past 2 or 3 years that there's been more and more things happening that's leading us away from peace. It's almost as if our leaders, who honestly, some of them aren't even elected. It's almost as if they want us to go into a time of instability, but they are leading us through that in the name of safety and inclusion and like environmentalism and all these other words that I've been hearing a lot in the past 3 to 5 years lately. Anyways, I'm going to take a quick break because I've been at this for a little bit, or actually no, I'm at 2 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and just call this. If you have questions or if you want to chat, I'm happy to stick around for a few more minutes, and otherwise I'll dip out. So I'm gonna sit here for about another minute just to see if there are any questions that kind of fly in, and if not, yeah, I'll dip out. But yeah, hopefully you all learned something about macOS and the dictionary tool. This right here is actually an iPhone/iPad app. You can run those on Macs now. But hopefully you learned about the dictionary app and how you can get more utility out of it, how you can get definitions without even opening up the dictionary. So like if I wanted to say help, whatever, it should pull up a definition for that eventually. Yeah, let's close that out. All right, so I see no other questions, so I'm going to assume there are none. So you all have a good rest of the day. Thank you for joining today's stream. If you enjoyed this, please give a like, drop some comments, if you want to join into the conversation. If you disagree with anything that I've said, please leave a comment. What do you agree with, or what do you disagree with specifically, and why do you disagree? If you agree with anything that I've said, please leave a comment. What do you agree with, and why do you agree with it specifically? And if you learned anything in this, also leave a comment. That would be helpful. It'll make sure that I continue to at least try to have like an educational angle to things. Otherwise, I'm gonna just go pure opinion. But yeah, y'all have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see y'all next time.